we're holding positions on 21 of those bills, but are following upwards of 80 bills. So it is a lot, and we are a very small advocacy department. So I will lean on a lot of you to continue the conversation and make sure that these bills have language that really speaks to the issues and making sure the services are available for individuals that need them. Some of the other items that I'm not going to talk about today that are very important are the budget proposals. So as mentioned earlier, we do have a mental health friendly governor in Governor Newsom, who will actually be at the next conference in Sacramento. So I would highly encourage you to participate in that. So we have a lot of opportunity to continue to influence what the mental health system looks like. And I will tell you that a majority of the bills that are being tracked by NAMI California, as far as those 21 bills, I would say all of those are in the Appropriations Committee, which is the fiscal committee that ultimately decides the fate of the bill. Every year I've been with NAMI, I made it a point to survey the community, the membership, to develop what the priorities should be. These are the 6 priorities that were reported from those that participated. I will tell you that I only had 480 people participate in that survey. That's a very small sample size for the state of California. We have over 5,000 NAMI members, so there's no reason why we can't get that number up. But a lot of that's going to count on you. So when I do send the survey out next month, please do take it. If I'm not hearing from you, I'm not able to really speak to what are some of the priorities out in the community. So I'm going to go over these really briefly. Again, there's additional information on the website so you can understand what some of these priorities mean. We'll start with the first one, access to treatment, and that's probably the most important. It's been the most consistent over the last couple of years. And then next up is housing. And I would say we talked a lot about housing. There's no place like home, but really figuring out what supportive housing looks like and how do we get involved with those conversations. Next up is crisis services. So we always try to prevent issue from becoming a crisis. The reality is right now, a lot of crises are happening across the state, across the country. What can we do to support not only the first responders, but the individuals that are going through the crises themselves? Next up is the criminal justice and forensics issues. So again, supporting individuals, supporting law enforcement, and really trying to divert as much as possible individuals living with serious mental illness from even being involved with the criminal justice system. Number 5, I would say, is the NAMI staple, is the family involvement and treatment. And really that's around education and awareness and making sure that the family member has what they need to support their loved one living with serious mental illness. When you start looking at various communities, family members are essentially the caregivers for their loved ones. So we need to make sure that both are taken care of. I'd like to add this 6th one, full array of services and supports for all ages. That's a little harder to achieve, but again, the more that we can kind of speak to, hey, this is my experience, this is what would have helped, the more that we can make sure services are available for all. Yes, yes, 1%. So again, I'm only going to talk about 2 bills today. This is the first bill. Assembly Bill 680 by Assemblymember Chu is the only bill that NAMI California is sponsoring this year. I say this because we are in talks to figure out what we want to sponsor next year. And I'm really trying to do my best as far as collect as much information from you all on some of the issues, because maybe we can introduce a bill that would not solve the issue, but support with access to treatment. I am hearing a lot around gravely disabled. I don't know if we'll introduce a bill regarding that, but if I hear that from 90% of the membership, then that's very likely. So in short, what this bill does is it's kind of a follow-up bill from Senate Bill 11 and 29, in which we worked with Senator Bell's office to make sure law enforcement had crisis intervention training. So we feel like the next step is to make sure that local and state dispatchers also have access to that training. I will tell you that it's not the same amount of hours, so it is scaled back somewhat, but I still think it's very important to make sure that dispatchers are equipped with mental health identification tools and can really support law enforcement with getting CIT teams out there and just really improving how information is shared with those in the field. I will tell you that every individual that I've ever interacted with that has shared their experience with CIT, family members really appreciate it. We need more of it, we need more people to know about it, and we also need the dispatchers to also be aware of it. So that's what we're doing. I will tell you that regardless if this bill moves forward, Post, who oversees kind of local dispatchers, is already working on something. And so they realize it is an issue, and we want to be a part of that conversation to make sure the training fits the needs and also addresses the issues. Yes?
So in case people are wondering what we're doing here locally with our dispatchers here in Ventura County is we actually allow them to go through the 40-hour CIT training. So yeah, we're at about 46%, is that right, Scott? About 46% of all dispatchers have been through the training here in our county.
Yeah, that's a very good point to make. Some counties have offered, the seats are very, very strict on who can attend the trainings, and so some counties have opened up, to share with other dispatchers and other entities, so that's very important. I will tell you that this bill is currently in Senate Appropriations and set for a hearing coming up shortly, and so I fully expect the bill to move forward, thus not the need to activate membership throughout this year. But moving forward, I really want to work on some of the issues. I'll be honest with you, this bill has not received any no votes. And so I kind of want to work on some items that might be a little controversial to really mobilize folks. And I think that might be the gravely disabled, expanding the definition, and really getting that right to make sure law enforcement can do what they have to, but that folks receive the appropriate, culturally appropriate services. So this is the last bill that I'm going to share. I chose one in the Assembly and I chose one in the Senate. This is Senate Bill 389 by Senator Hertzberg. Very interesting. This actually amends the act to provide, to give counties the ability to use MHSA funds for individuals that are either pre-sentencing or post-release, either about to go in the criminal justice system or coming out of the criminal justice system. Currently, a county cannot use MHSA funds to provide mental health services to an individual that's involved in the criminal justice system. Very confusing.